Let me be clear from the start. This is not about pretending to be rich. This is about refusing to surrender. The moment a person looks poor, they have already accepted defeat internally. Poverty first appears in the eyes, the posture, the voice, the discipline, and only later in the wallet. Long before money disappears, belief disappears. The world does not reward potential. It rewards presentation backed by intent. People respond to how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respect your own presence. If you signal weakness, confusion, and neglect, the world mirrors it back to you, with fewer opportunities and lower expectations. Looking poor is not about money. It is about carelessness. A careless mind creates a careless life. Order, cleanliness, confidence, and restraint cost nothing, yet most people refuse to practice them. That refusal is why they stay where they are. When you refuse to look poor, you are making a silent declaration: this is temporary. I am in transition, not defeat. That declaration shapes decisions. It sharpens focus. It forces discipline when motivation fails. Opportunities are drawn to people who look prepared, not desperate. No one invests in chaos. No one follows uncertainty. Even when you have nothing, you must carry yourself as someone who is becoming something. This is not deception. This is alignment. You are aligning your outer behavior with your inner intention. You are training your mind to expect better, demand better, and work for better. Never confuse humility with neglect. Humility is strength under control. Neglect is surrender disguised as honesty. Refuse to look poor, because every day you do, you rehearse failure. Every day you don't, you rehearse success. Your appearance, discipline, and self-respect are your first assets. Protect them fiercely until the rest catches up. Poverty begins in appearance and attitude long before it shows in the bank account. Long before money runs out, standards run out. Long before opportunity disappears, discipline disappears. What people call bad luck is often the visible result of invisible surrender. The body slouches, the eyes avoid contact, the voice loses certainty, and only later does the wallet reflect what the mind already accepted. Understand this clearly: money does not leave first. Respect leaves first. When a person stops caring how they show up, how they speak, how they carry themselves, they have already signed an internal agreement with limitation. The world doesn't punish poverty. It responds to signals, and the signal of a defeated attitude is loud, even when spoken silently. Most people misunderstand poverty. They think it is a lack of money. It is not. Poverty is a lack of order, intention, and expectation. Two people can have the same empty bank account. One is temporarily broke, the other is permanently poor. The difference is not cash, it is posture, habits, and standards. One is waiting for rescue, the other is preparing for rise. The world is brutal but honest. It does not ask what you meant to do. It reacts to what you project. If you look uncertain, you are treated as uncertain. If you look careless, you are handled carelessly. If you look defeated, you are overlooked without apology. This is not cruelty, this is reality operating without emotion. Looking poor is not about wearing expensive things, it is about neglect. Neglect of body, neglect of speech, neglect of environment, neglect of self-discipline. These are not money problems, these are decision problems. Cleanliness is free. Posture costs nothing. Preparedness requires only effort. Yet millions refuse to pay even that price. The dangerous lie people tell themselves is, I'll carry myself better when I succeed. That is backwards. You never rise into discipline. You rise because of discipline. The outer world follows the inner order, not the other way around. If you wait for results before respecting yourself, you will wait forever. Every successful person learned this early or learned it painfully. How you see yourself trains others how to treat you. If you treat yourself like a temporary failure, the world will make it permanent. If you treat yourself like someone in transition, doors begin to behave differently. Conversations change. Expectations shift. Opportunities appear where none existed before. Refusing to look poor is not pretending to be rich. Pretending is fragile. Discipline is solid. This is about refusing to rehearse defeat daily. Every time you show up sharp, intentional, and controlled, you reinforce an identity of competence. Identity drives behavior. Behavior compounds into results. Poverty thrives in chaos. Chaos in time management. Chaos in appearance. Chaos in thinking. Order is the enemy of poverty. Order forces clarity. Clarity forces decisions. Decisions force movement. Movement forces growth. That change starts with something as simple and as powerful as how you present yourself to the world. People underestimate how much opportunity is visual and behavioral before it is financial. Investors, employers, mentors, and leaders all ask the same silent question when they see you: is this person ready? Not rich. Ready. Readiness shows in composure, speech, restraint, and confidence. Desperation repels. Preparation attracts. When you look poor, you lower the ceiling of what life offers you. When you refuse to look poor, you raise expectations. First your own, then everyone else's. You stop begging silently and start negotiating with reality from a position of self-respect. This mindset demands responsibility. You cannot hide behind excuses. You cannot blame circumstances while broadcasting surrender through your habits. You either command your image and attitude, or you allow them to betray you daily. The truth is uncomfortable but liberating. No one owes you belief. You must demonstrate it first, through discipline when it's hard, through standards when it's inconvenient, through consistency when motivation disappears. Refuse to look poor, because every day you don't, you condition your mind for something higher. You tell yourself, this is not my destination. That message shapes choices, and choices shape destiny. Money will eventually follow the man or woman who refuses to collapse internally, but it never follows someone who already looks defeated. Carry yourself like someone who is on the way, not someone who has given up. That decision costs nothing, and it changes everything. The world treats you based on the signals you send, not your intentions. Reality does not pause to ask what you meant to do, what you planned to become, or how hard you tried. It reacts only to what you display, through your posture, your tone, your habits, your consistency. Intentions are invisible. Signals are not. And life is brutally literal in the way it responds to what it can see. Most people live trapped inside good intentions. They believe effort without evidence should count. They expect patience from a world that only respects clarity. They hope understanding will arrive where preparation is absent. But hope is silent, and silence is ignored. The marketplace of life rewards what is obvious, repeatable, and reliable, not what is privately desired. Every interaction you enter sends data. Before you speak, your body speaks. Before you explain, your behavior explains. Before you ask for trust, your discipline announces whether you deserve it. People decide how seriously to take you within seconds, and that decision is rarely visited. Not because they are cruel, but because attention is scarce and certainty is valuable. You may intend to be confident, but if your voice hesitates, the signal says otherwise. You may intend to be capable, but if your actions are disorganized, the signal contradicts you. You may intend to be committed, but if your consistency collapses, the signal exposes the truth. Intentions do not override evidence. Evidence crushes intentions every time. This is why so many people feel misunderstood. They believe the world is unfair, when in reality it is simply responding accurately. Life does not misjudge, it mirrors. It reflects back the discipline you practice, the standards you tolerate, and the urgency you demonstrate. If you look uncertain, you are treated as uncertain. If you look careless, you are handled carelessly. Not because people hate you, but because signals guide decisions. Signals are created in small moments. How you show up when no one is watching. How you manage time. How you maintain order under pressure. How you speak when challenged. These are not dramatic acts, they are daily broadcasts, and the world is always tuned in. The dangerous illusion is believing that potential is enough. Potential without signals is invisible. No one invests in what cannot be verified. No one follows what feels unstable. No one trusts what appears inconsistent. The world moves toward certainty, even when that certainty is imperfect. This is why disciplined people rise faster than talented ones. Talent is silent until activated. Discipline is loud. It announces reliability. It sends the signal that effort will not collapse under stress. In environments where risk exists, business, leadership, relationships, Signals of stability outweigh raw ability. You do not convince the world with explanations. You convince it with patterns. One strong day means nothing. Repetiti on builds belief. Consistency becomes reputation. Reputation determines access. Access determines opportunity. That entire chain begins with the signals you send before you ever ask for anything. When people say, they didn't give me a chance, what they often mean is, my signals didn't justify one. That is uncomfortable to accept because it removes the comfort of blame. But it also restores control. If outcomes respond to signals, then signals can be changed. Changing signals requires responsibility. It means aligning behavior with intention instead of hoping intention will excuse behavior. It means removing contradictions between what you say and what you do. It means understanding that every excuse weakens your signal, and every act of discipline strengthens it. The world is not inspired by words. It is persuaded by alignment. When your actions, habits, and presence agree with your stated goals, resistance drops. Doors open quietly. Trust forms without negotiation. You stop chasing validation because your signals do the work for you. This is not about manipulation. It is about integrity. Integrity is when intention and behavior match, and when they match consistently, the world responds differently, not because it suddenly believes in you, but because you have become believable. You cannot demand better treatment while broadcasting confusion. You cannot expect opportunity while signaling hesitation. You cannot ask for leadership while avoiding responsibility. The world reads what you project and answers accordingly. The moment you accept this, you gain power. No more waiting to be understood. No more explaining your worth. No more hoping effort will be noticed. You focus instead on refining what you send out. Clarity, discipline, confidence, and consistency. Intentions may comfort you at night. Signals decide your future during the day. Choose what you broadcast. Carefully, because the world is always responding. Looking poor is often a sign of mental surrender, not financial reality. Long before money disappears, standards disappear. Long before resources run dry, discipline weakens. What most people call being broke is frequently a visible confession that they have stopped demanding more from themselves. The bank account may be empty, but the real loss happened earlier, in the mind. Financial struggle does not automatically produce neglect. Many people have little and still carry themselves with precision, control, and self-respect. They understand something others miss. Poverty is not proven by numbers, it is revealed by behavior. When effort fades, posture collapses, speech becomes careless, and routines decay, that is not lack of money. That is surrender. Mental surrender is subtle. It does not announce itself loudly. It whispers. It says, this is just how things are. It says, there's no point trying today. It says, I'll fix this later when life improves. Those thoughts slowly erode standards, and once standards fall, appearance follows. Not expensive appearance, intentional appearance. Clean becomes optional. Order becomes unnecessary. Pride becomes arrogance in disguise, and neglect is justified as honesty. People confuse authenticity with carelessness. They say, this is the real me, when what they mean is, I'm tired of resisting decline. Authenticity is not the absence of effort, it is the alignment of effort with values. When values weaken, effort disappears. That disappearance shows up externally, even when finances have not yet collapsed. The world reads these signs clearly. It does not ask whether your situation is temporary or permanent. It reacts to what it sees. When someone looks mentally surrendered, opportunities bypass them quietly. Not out of cruelty, but out of risk avoidance. No one entru. It's responsibility to someone who appears to have abandoned control. Looking poor is rarely about lacking money. It is about lacking intention. Intention to prepare, intention to maintain, intention to respect the space you occupy. These things require energy, not wealth. And when energy is withdrawn, it signals that the person has accepted limitation as identity. The most dangerous moment is when surrender feels reasonable, when neglect feels logical, when standards feel unnecessary because no one is watching. That is when decline accelerates. because the habits you practice in private become the signals you broadcast in public. Mental surrender creates a loop. Lower standards produce weaker behavior. Weaker behavior produces worse outcomes. Worse outcomes justify lower standards. And the cycle tightens. Eventually, financial reality catches up to the mental one, not as a surprise, but as a confirmation of what was already decided internally. But the opposite is also true. Refusing to look poor is not denial, it is resistance. It is the refusal to let circumstance dictate identity. It is the discipline to maintain order when chaos would be easier. It is the decision to carry yourself like someone who is passing through difficulty, not living in it. This resistance builds momentum. Order sharpens thinking. Clear thinking produces better decisions. Better decisions slowly alter results. The transformation begins not with money but with standards. Standards are the bridge between mindset and material change. Many people wait for financial improvement before improving themselves. That wait becomes permanent. Growth does not reward patience without action. It rewards alignment. When your behavior reflects confidence in a better future, your mind begins to cooperate with that future. Mental surrender tells the mind, this is enough. Resistance tells it, this is tempo. Rarely. One freezes progress. The other demands movement. One shrinks possibility. The other stretches it. Looking poor is not humility. Humility is strength under control. Looking poor is strength abandoned. It is potential left unattended, and unattended potential does not stay neutral. It decays. The harsh truth is this: no one can rescue someone who has already given up internally. Help sticks only to those who are still holding themselves together. Discipline signals readiness. Neglect signals risk. The world responds accordingly. Every day you choose how you show up, you are choosing whether to reinforce surrender or resistance. No speech, no dream, no intention can override that choice. You do not need money to look sharp, focused, and composed. You need decision. You need refusal. You need the courage to maintain standards when they feel pointless. That refusal is not cosmetic. It is strategic. It keeps the mind in fighting condition. And a mind that is not surrendered will eventually find a way out, because poverty that lives only in numbers can be temporary. Poverty that lives in the mind becomes permanent. Self-respect is visible before success arrives. Strong starts line expend it, and don't heading in 800 words. Self-respect is visible before success arrives, long before results appear, before recognition, before validation. There are signals that announce who is coming, and those signals are never financial. They are behavioral. They show up in how a person speaks when no reward is guaranteed, how they carry themselves when no one is watching, and how they treat their own standards, when cutting corners would be easier. Most people believe success creates self-respect. That belief is backwards and costly. Success does not install discipline, order, or integrity. It reveals whether they were already there. The habits you practice while unnoticed are the same habits that will govern you when you are seen. If self-respect is missing in obscurity, it will not magically appear in spotlight. Self-respect is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not beg for attention. It is visible because it is consistent. It appears in punctuality, in preparation, in restraint. It shows in the refusal to complain publicly while doing nothing privately. It shows in the way someone protects their time, their word, and their focus. The world responds to self-respect instinctively. People trust those who demonstrate control. They listen to those who move with intention. They invest in those who clearly invest in themselves, not because it feels nice, but because self-respect reduces risk. It signals reliability. It suggests that effort will not collapse under pressure. Many people misunderstand confidence and mistake it for loudness. True self-respect does not need volume. It does not chase approval. It does not over-explain. It does not perform desperation. It allows silence to work because silence backed by discipline is powerful. Before success arrives, self-respect is tested constantly. It is tested when excuses are available. It is tested when no one is rewarding effort. It is tested when shortcuts promise faster relief. Those moments are where identity is decided. Every time a person chooses standards over convenience, they reinforce an internal authority that later becomes external credibility. Self-respect shapes choices. Choices shape habits. Habits shape outcomes. This chain is invisible to those who only watch results, but it is obvious to those who understand growth. You can often predict who will succeed simply by observing how they behave when success is absent. People who lack self-respect broadcast it without words. They interrupt themselves. They arrive unprepared. They allow disorder to dominate their environment. They explain instead of execute. None of this is caused by lack of ability. It is caused by lack of internal command. The uncomfortable truth is that no one will take you more seriously than you take yourself. You cannot demand respect while violating your own standards daily. The world does not negotiate with contradiction. It mirrors it. Self-respect is not arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity with noise. Self-respect is stability without performance. It does not inflate identity, it grounds it. It allows a person to improve without collapsing and to be corrected without resentment. When self-respect is present, struggle does not degrade character, it sharpens it. Failure becomes information, not identity. Delay becomes preparation, not discouragement. This mental posture is what allows people to persist long enough for results to catch up. The absence of success is not an excuse to lower standards. It is the reason to raise them, because standards create momentum, and momentum attracts opportunity. No one mentors chaos. No one funds carelessness. No one follows inconsistency. Self-respect shows before success because success is built on trust, and trust begins with self-trust. When a person keeps their word to themselves, they signal to the world that they can keep it to others. This is why some people with little command attention, while others with more are ignored. Presence is not purchased. It is practiced. And presence is rooted in self-respect. Every day you either reinforce it or erode it. Through what you tolerate, through what you postpone, through what you excuse. Those decisions accumulate silently until the results appear publicly. By the time success arrives, self-respect is no longer a goal. It is already a habit, and habits do not break under pressure. They reveal themselves. So if success feels distant, do not ask what you lack externally. Ask what you are tolerating internally. Because when self-respect is visible, success is only a matter of time. Discipline in small things creates belief in big outcomes. Before ambition feels real, before confidence feels justified, before success feels possible, belief is constructed quietly through repetition. Not through grand declarations, not through motivation, not through vision boards, but through small, controlled actions done when they feel insignificant. Most people wait to believe before they act. That wait destroys them. Belief is not the starting point, it is the byproduct. You do not wake up convinced you can win. You earn that conviction by keeping promises to yourself when no one is watching, and no reward is guaranteed. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the person you are becoming. The mind does not trust words, it trusts evidence. When you say you want more but fail to execute on minor commitments, your mind learns a brutal lesson. Your intentions are unreliable. Over time, this erodes confidence. Big goals begin to feel unrealistic not because they are impossible, but because your internal credibility is damaged. Small disciplines repair that credibility. Waking up when you said you would, finishing what you start, maintaining order when chaos would be easier. These actions seem trivial, but they send a powerful message inward. I do what I decide. That message compounds. The mind begins to cooperate. Doubt loses authority. This is why people with massive potential feel paralyzed. They chase big outcomes without building the behavioral foundation required to believe in them. They want confidence without consistency, vision without structure, results without restraint. The mind rejects that fantasy and replaces it with hesitation. Discipline removes hesitation. It simplifies decision-making. When routines are set, energy is conserved. Focus sharpens.